Good morning. I'm glad this podium's clear so you can see me. Good morning. I'm going to talk about what we're doing in the Carolinas and relate it to the opportunities that you've got here. I love the title of this conference that focuses on prosperity because that's what this is all about. But first, a couple of definitions. We're going to talk about collaboration. And I'll give you a definition of collaboration. A lot of people use it too loosely and sometimes in the wrong context. When you coordinate, you share information. When you cooperate, you share resources if you can. But when you collaborate, you actually have the same goals. So I want you to think about that. What are the common goals? And if you look at the energy industry, the one I'm in, it's really a socio-economic institution. That's really what it is. You think about it. It's not just there to produce money. It's also to produce jobs and enable a livelihood and a quality of life. The other thing I'll say is about innovation. Innovation is used very loosely, but innovation is novelty that's useful. That's really what it is. So something can be novel, but if it has no use, it's not innovation. And most innovation comes from what you already have, just put new combinations. You don't have to go invent things. You have to look at new combinations. And that's what we've tried to do in the Carolinas right now. So what are the Carolinas known for? You come to mind, what are the Carolinas known for? A lot of people say, well, tobacco. We know about tobacco. We know about tourism. We know about banking. It's the second largest banking center in the United States. So where's energy? Well, it's there. It was just in the background. It's behind that switch plate or that plug in the wall. There's an energy industry that, for people like me, wasn't really visible. And so our goal, quite frankly, was to make it visible, to really say, hey, what are we here for? Where's the opportunities? Where's the prosperity? So we wanted to bring energy to the forefront here. That was what was most important. That was the initiative we took. We were in the background, and so we had to figure out, hey, what's this thing going to look like? So everybody talks about clusters. Michael Porter's famous paper in 1998 about clusters and what they are. Linked industries, that collaborate, my definition. Linked companies, institutions, educational institutions, driving across value chains. The key thing here in all these clusters is linking. It's not the entities, it's the connections. The minister talked about these connections earlier. That's what it's all about. It's the co-location, not the location, but the co-location, making these things connect and interact. And you've got to be close to each other to make the connections. It is a contact sport. You cannot do it remotely. You've got to be there. And that's the advantage that I see with these clusters. So one of the things we had to do was to say, well, how big's our industry? Okay? So we actually commissioned a study done by Clemson University in the Carolinas. The nuclear industry alone, 54 companies, 37,000 employees, a payroll of over $2 billion, and a $20 billion economic benefit for North and South Carolina. It was pretty big, but no one knew about it. Our politicians didn't know about it. No one had ever measured this because the energy industry kind of talks to itself. Hey, life is good, the plants are running, this is good, and they weren't out there featuring energy in the economy. And so our goal was to make this visible and say, hey, wait a minute, we have opportunity here. We are being too complacent. We are being too complacent. We're comfortable. Leave it alone. Life is good. Why should we do more? Well, we're here to grow. So if you look at the companies we had here, it paints a pretty picture, some pretty big companies. Siemens, Duke Energy, Mitsubishi, Scana, Fluor, Chicago Bridge and Iron, Toshiba, Fluor, GE, Atkins. New companies from the UK and France are locating in the Carolinas. They see there's an opportunity. Wait a minute. There's a big industry, and the economy and energy are inextricably linked. The economy will not grow unless energy is there to serve it. So if we see the economy growing, we've got to be able to provide that infrastructure so the economy can grow. And if you don't have the energy, they're not coming. They're not coming. They're going to go somewhere else where it's going to be reliable, safe, predictable, and cost-effective, and environmentally friendly. We've got Google and Apple and Boeing moving into Carolinas because they want green energy. They can go anywhere they want. They have enough money. They want green energy. So they want renewables. They want efficiency. The most energy efficient company in the United States, does anybody know what it is? It's Walmart. What? Walmart. You'd be surprised at the investment Walmart puts in energy. It would shock you. This is the company that sells the Chinese goods. Oh, no, they're very, very sophisticated. So you look at these institutions that are companies, research, national labs, universities, and whoa. So what did we have to do? We have some needs in our industry. First, the workforce. The average age is my age. Who's behind me? Who's going to serve this industry? We have a shortage of talent entering that industry. There's a shortage of population because I'm a baby boomer. My father was a World War II veteran. Came home, had 5 kids. My wife's one of 9. We had 3 kids. Okay? Kids now are getting married later. So where's the population coming from? Are they going in science and engineering? No. We've got to fill that gap. And to me, the problem is the opportunity. If you turn it upside down, there's opportunity for our children to get in these fields and to have a bright future and to be prosperous. Business development, supply chain. Where's the supply chain? The big conglomerates are gone. I worked for Westinghouse for 25 years. It doesn't exist anymore. We built a nuclear plant. We supplied everything. Now you've got to go to different suppliers, maybe offshore, those kind of things, so you don't have the big integrated conglomerates. That's the role of cluster fills. It's that new corporation, and it's much more agile. Research and development. Where's the next technology going to come from? How about policymakers? If they don't know about your industry, how can they formulate policy to sustain and help it grow? So if we aren't quantifying our industry and they don't know about it, they're going to blindly pass policy based on what? Politics and not facts. So that's why we had these 4 initiatives. If you look further, we've made some investments. The universities were not producing graduates that we could use. So it was an industry-led activity to found this operation in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's called the Energy Production Infrastructure Center. Its sole goal is to produce engineers and technology people to serve the energy industry. That's what it does. Mechanical engineers, civil engineers, electrical engineers, IT, across all branches of energy, not nuclear, but it could be solar. There's a photovoltaics laboratory there. There's a smart grid simulation laboratory there. So it's across all disciplines. But as part of this thing, we're going to help them direct that curriculum, and we're going to hire their graduates. So we got involved. We led this. We secured the funding with the state of North Carolina for this brand new $75 million facility. But we made a commitment to hire the graduates. I made a commitment when I was at URS to hire their interns. When they showed up in the summer for their job, I said, welcome to URS. I'd have 10 of them. I said, you have 10 weeks to test drive us. See if you want to work here. By the way, you're all getting job offers after 10 weeks, contingent upon your graduations. What? No one ever did that. Well, that's what innovation's about, right? What do you think my competition did when they found out I was doing that? They did it too. So when you were at the university, did you want an internship working for Jim Little? Hell yes, because you're going to get a job. So that's the kind of innovation and approach to investing and not playing not to lose. Grants, scholarships, employment, those kind of things. But it was beyond just workers. We needed leaders. So we developed this, leadership development program. We take top professionals from our member companies, 20 or 30 of them, and we take them in rotational visits across section of the energy industry. So if you're working in an engineering company, you're going to go on a 3-day trip to utility and see how they run day to day. You're going to go meet regulators, you're going to go meet policymakers, and you're even going to go meet interveners that hate you. And you're going to see what their perspective is. It's to get out of your job, to get out of your salary, to have a broad perspective of the challenges that are faced in this industry and give you the leadership skills to navigate this so we can deliver on that premise of economic prosperity. So you'll be prepared for it. So you'll see this experience. Looking further, we said, hey, how are we going to start this thing? We had this great idea back in 2006 and 2008. What are we going to do? It started very small. Small group of people, 10 people in a room. Hey, we've got an idea here. What are we going to do? And here's what we didn't do. We didn't talk about how bad we had it and what we didn't have. All we did was list what we could do. I didn't care what I couldn't do. I don't care. We can't do that. I don't want to talk about what I can't do. I don't have enough time for that. What can we do? So what we did is, what could we do locally? Where could we start? We started with EPIC. We started with talent. We started doing that. We said, hey, you know, we think there's this cluster model that Porter has that might work here. And that's exactly what we did. We officially launched that with small, 17 members. We said, let's take 6 months and map this thing out. So here's some principles that emerged over time. First, we had to have collaboration, my definition of collaboration. I had all competitors at the table. Do you think they wanted to collaborate? No. But we all had the same common problems. We had workforce needs, we had policy needs, we had communication needs. Let's work on what we at least agree on that is common to us all. We all need workforce, right? So we're not going to have any competition, and with what we were doing, we basically were increasing raising the bar in ourselves so others would meet it. I would hire interns. I took the initiative. I could have laid back, but then my competitors said, well, I've got to do what Jim Little's doing, or I'm going to look like I'm a laggard, so I'll do that too. No competition. North and South Carolina are two different states, two different perspectives. We rubbed out the line. We called it the Carolinas. We didn't want this North versus South thing. And in South Carolina, they still think the Civil War is going on. They said there's nothing civil about it. It's a war of northern aggression. Okay, it's still going on, okay? But while they're here, we're going to take their tourism dollars, okay? You can visit, but you got to leave. So we had to kind of rub that up. Most people in Charlotte, North Carolina are not from Carolina. That brings that diversity. Anybody familiar with Richard Florida's work, Rise of the Creative Class? 3 dimensions, talent, technology, and tolerance. That's where we want that diversity in there. That's really, if you really want to look at that, that's the point that's most important, is to get that mix and that connectivity. We wanted, sorry, excuse me for leaning over my shoulder. Business, it's about jobs, not degrees, jobs. It's not about graduates, it's about employees. That's what it's all about, right? Past all the technologies and stuff, in the end we want jobs and prosperity for our communities and our children. We want them to stay here, right? So how are you going to attract them here? You got to create jobs here. That's what you got to do. Don't worry about global. It's always done local. My business was global. I had an office in Charlotte, one in London, and one in Shanghai. I was usually in orbit somewhere. I had plutonium status on U.S. Air from flying around. I used to fly 200,000 miles a year, and it was great because no one could phone me or email me while I was in the air. I actually do some thinking. You want to try that? Think globally, but act locally, like I said. Now let's talk about investment. A lot of people want to give you a check and goodbye. It's like a charity, okay? United Way, here you go. Thank you, Bo. My conscience is relieved. Another fundraiser calls you, I already give to United Way. No. I don't just want your money. I want your effort. I want your talent. You got to participate. If you're a member, not an attendee. So if you're a member company, you got to contribute with your people. When I was at URS, I went to the meetings. I didn't delegate it. I went to the meetings. I made the drive to Raleigh on EPIC to lobby the legislature to say, hey, we need this money. There'll be a return on this investment like you won't believe. I'll go. Not some junior person, not someone from HR, not some attendee. No. The leaders lead. It's very, very important. No delegates. And then the end result was results, not activities. Not the committee for this and activity of this, not ING words, doing, thinking, talking, ED words, done. The buildings built. The people graduated. They got jobs. That's how we measure it. Someone talked about what gets measured gets done. What gets measured as outcome is what's done. Really, very, very important. Very important. We insist on it. Key lessons learned here. Having the right environment. Openness to explore ideas. Deferring decision-making till later. Somebody's got an idea, might have a problem with it. Hold on. It may have a problem, leave it on the table. Let's turn that problem into how might we. I like the concept, it's got an issue. Where do we get funding? Where do we get political support? Don't kill it now. Let it there. Now how might we get political support? How might we get funding? But if we discarded the stage one because it had a defect, wanted the perfect thing around, well, we would have lost the opportunity.